we need each other. I'm jealous when you drive down the country road and there's a deer just walking around. And I'm thinking, society collapsed. That deer is just fine. The deer was born in the woods, is finding food, is grown up. Whereas I need other people to survive in this world. I don't know how to hunt. I don't know how to skin game. I don't know I like knowing that there's a quart of milk waiting for me on the grocery store and ready to eat cereals. We have an interdependence as never before. Mm. And how do we maintain that without scattering to the winds?
You said you lost both your parents in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
As someone that knows so much about the universe and objective truth and reality, how do you contend with grief in that scenario? But also, how does that change you in any way?
It did, a little bit. Not as much as I thought it might have. My father was 89 when he died. That was 5 years ago. My mother was 2 days shy of her 95th birthday. So so I'm putting myself like right between them in my life expectancy. I think I'll get to 92. It's the average of those two, So when you die at that age, it's sad, but it's not tragic. So that's an important distinction for me. A tragic life is a life that could have been lived, but through act of war or negligence or negligence of the person or of others, the life is cut short. Then that's tragic. It's a life not fully lived. But if you lived a full life, they were married 50-something years, it's sad, but it's not tragic. In fact, it's not even sad. It's something to celebrate. And so I miss them. I miss them more than I thought I would because they carried quite a bit of wisdom with them. My father was active in the civil rights movement. My mother was a gerontologist, so they both cared very deeply about the plight of others. And I'm their son, the astrophysicist. So I go off with my head in the sky, but I was anchored into the human condition and anchored to think about it, to care about it. And when I encountered things in modern life, I wonder what my mother would say about that. I wonder what insights my father, and they're not there. I don't have them for that. So the way it's changed me is it has put a greater expectation of me on myself to make sure I have wisdom that I can share with my kids, my 2 kids, the kind of wisdom that I gleaned from my parents so that, again, this is not wisdom of what car to buy or what job to have because they have other values. They have other expectations of society. But in terms of human-to-human interaction, in terms of love, in terms of challenges in life and overcoming them, some of those are timeless. Some of those are, how to navigate difficult people, how to appreciate nature so you don't take it for granted. One of the things I liked about Joyce Kilmer's poem on a tree is about a tree. And we've all seen trees. So why does this matter? Because it takes an artist, a poet, a writer, a sculptor, a painter. For me, the artist's job is to encourage us, stimulate us to pay attention to things we might otherwise take for granted. Because so much of life is what you might just walk by and not even give it any thought. And so I don't walk by trees without thinking something about that poem.
What is the poem?
I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowering breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray, a tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who ultimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only God can make a tree.
But only God can make a tree. I spend so long these days thinking and talking to people about what all of this means. And I've got more and more. I saw you talking about the simulation theory once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to fall into that, that whole of thinking.
Oh, it's no, you gotta, step outside every now and then and, smell the roses.
But you said you wouldn't be surprised if people found out the universe is simulated by some sort of advanced life form.
Yeah, given what we can now compute, throw in quantum computing on top of that. We don't have this power yet, but to make a world in our computer where the characters in that world believe they have free will, and then they conduct themselves, and then they invent computers, and then they make a world inside of their computer, and where their characters think they have free will, and then then it's this simulated universes all the way down. And close your eyes and throw a dart. Which of these, are you going to get the first universe that invented the simulated universe or the zillion ones that followed? The dart's likely to hit one of the others. But my escape hatch from that is, since we do not yet know or have the power to make a perfectly simulated world, it means we are either the first universe that's real that hasn't created one yet, or we're the last universe that hasn't evolved yet to have created one of its own. Because all the middles have the power to create one. So that takes it, a zillion to one against us to maybe 50-50.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
So I'm a little more comfortable that way.
Comfortable.
Yeah. I sleep a little better at night.
But I guess it wouldn't matter anyway if we were.
It wouldn't matter. If we're completely simulated, what do you care? You're living your life. I know we don't want to believe that there are puppet strings on us. Part of me thinks that, though. Just when everything on Earth is kind of stable. Oh, COVID shows up. Oh, so this is the programmer saying, the Earth is too boring now. We got to spice it up a bit. They throw in a pandemic. Okay, a once in a century pandemic. Now we're entertaining for them. What do we do? Who gets vaccinated? Who doesn't? Who's going to fight? Who dies? Who lives? Okay, so then we kind of get through that. We get the vaccine. Okay, we're just calming down off of that. And they said, oh, let's make a billionaire real estate developer from New York City the most powerful person in the world. Let's stir the pot again. And so now there's a whole other set of pot stirring that's going on. So that's kind of consistent with a snot-nosed alien kid in the parents' basement programming our existence. That's what I would do. I would throw in interest. There's a game, Sim City.
Yeah.
I played that. That's how old I am. Sim City. So you are mayor of this city, and people can vote you out of office. So you have to do things that make them happy, and there's an opinion poll that's there. And if you spend too much money here, you're not spending money on the schools. That's bad. But then as crime goes up, and you're realizing, oh my gosh, and even this simple simulation, so many interdependent phenomenon are taking place. Then things that happen, then Godzilla steps through and plows through the city. Okay, now Godzilla's not real, but it kind of is, because that would be a disaster. Is it a flood? Is it fires? It's a thing that nobody saw coming, okay? We are recording this interview on September 11th. I live 4 blocks from Ground Zero. That's Godzilla walking through the city. Well, how do you respond to that? You didn't know that was going to happen the day before. So realizing that in this game, it's only interesting to play when disastrous things happen. Not too many in a row, because you have to be able to recover. So when I look at our world, I'm thinking the best argument I have for being in a simulation is how often some big disaster takes place. When it was the First World War, and then after that, The peace? Oh, pandemic. Okay, the 1918 flu pandemic. Okay, now we get out of that. Second World War. Okay, we get out of that. The Cold War, nuclear holocaust. Okay, so that's my that's me looking over the shoulder of the programmer.
Oh, God. I think I prefer the world where I feel like I have free will and there's not.
Does it make a difference if you believe you have free will, even if you don't?
No, because I'll never know.
And